You can if you wish.
All right. Well, I have 4 p.m. on my clock, and that's Eastern time, which means it must be 3 p.m. Central time. Hello, everyone. My name is Mark Leslie Lefebvre, and I'm the what am I? What am I, Kevin? What do I do?
Business development.
Thank you. That's what I do. Right. And Kevin, apart from assisting me in figuring out what I'm up to, Kevin, what's your title?
I'm Kevin Tumlinson. I'm the Director of Marketing and Public Relations for Draft Digital.
And we are honored, very honored to have Will Dages from Findaway Voices here. Will, what is your official title at Findaway Voices?
Did we lose you, Will? There he is. Wait.
There he is. Why can't we hear? I think your mic is off, my friend. So.
He's currently muted.
Muted. I'm gonna. I think was I unable to unmute him. Unmute audio. No.
Wave and smile. Will.
Hey everybody.
Hey.
I'm Will from Findaway Voices here. You know what? I have the Facebook going on in the background. That's the problem. Okay. So I'm good now. I apologize for the technical difficulty there. What happened was I had Facebook on in the background because I was seeing the countdown, and then I started hearing the timer in a loop, and it was freaking me out. So hi, I'm totally normal. I'm Will, and I'm an audio expert at Findaway Voices here. I'm actually the head of Findaway Voices, so I run the whole operation. And now that we have that snag worked out, I'm looking forward to answering everybody's questions today.
The audio expert.
Yeah. Everything always goes according to plan and goes smoothly.
Well, you're a time traveler apparently too, because when you're watching the Facebook feed, you're about 20 seconds behind. So you were talking to us in real time and watching Facebook and going, wait a second, should I be talking now?
Yeah.
Well, first question came in. Thank you so much from, and I didn't catch who actually asked the question, but the question is, I've published my audiobook on Findaway Voices. I've received the free giveaway codes. I'd like to use them to encourage sign up to my email list. Do you know how to automate the process? If someone clicks to get the code, they won't want to wait until I see their email. Can this be incorporated in MailerLite or Zapier, if that's how you pronounce it? Do you have a template?
Great question, first of all. So the short answer is no. I don't have a great way to automate that. The way the giveaway codes work are you give away the codes and it's kind of up to you to manage the distribution of that. That's not saying that we won't incorporate something to make it easier in the future, because everybody who distributes with Findaway Voices gets 30 giveaway codes. If you go with our premium distribution tier called Voices Plus, you get 100. And we're always looking for ways to make those more valuable, easier to give away. We want them to drive reviews and be reader magnets to help you get more people on your email list. What I would say is, since you have 30 or 100, I'm sure your goal for your email list is probably more than 30 or 100 people. You want more than that. So the way I would approach that is to say, I'm going to raffle off 3 giveaway codes every month or 1 giveaway code every month for everybody who signs up to my mailing list this month. At the end of the month, I'm going to give one away randomly. And that sets an expectation of how many you're giving away. It's not a one-for-one thing. It's going to encourage a lot more people to end up on your list, and it's going to lower the burden for you, so you're not constantly giving away giveaway codes and using them up. And then at some point you run out of them and you don't have your incentive anymore, until you publish your next book. But that would be a great way to stretch those a little bit further. If you're looking for a way to kind of give them out and validate that you're giving them to people who are actually going to leave reviews, there's a company called Story Origin down in Austin, Texas. I don't know if you've heard of them before, but they just released an audiobook review feature that's really great. And it's a way for you to give away your Findaway Voices giveaway codes or your ACX codes if you're using ACX. And the way it works is you set up a landing page, and then you point people to that landing page, and reviewers, listeners have profiles there, and they say, okay, I want to review your book, and they apply. And then you get a list of applicants and you get to see their past histories. So if this person's requesting a ton of books and they're never actually leaving a review, you're going to see they have like a 0 or a 10% review rate. You're going to say, okay, I'm not going to give one of my codes to that person. If somebody has like an 80, 90, 100% review rate, you're like, yes, that's the person that I want to give this code to because I know it's going to result in a review from them. So take a look at Story Origin. They just released this feature last week. It's still brand new. We have a little write-up on our blog, blog.findawayvoices.com, or you can just check out Story Origin. I believe it's completely free right now, so there's no reason not to use it. It's a nice little layer on top of giveaway codes.
That's cool. Fantastic. I'm wondering because we jumped right into the giveaway codes and we got excited about that, but I'm wondering, and that's my fault because I really wanted to know the answer. I think it was Charles who asked that question, so thank you for asking that question. But just for anyone who's unfamiliar with Findaway and Findaway Voices, can you just give us a quick summary, like who are you guys and why should we care? Why are you guys so awesome? Yeah, absolutely. So, if you're watching this, you're probably familiar with Draft to Digital. So the easiest way to think about it is we're like Draft to Digital for audio. You can upload your audiobooks to our service, and we're going to get it out to all the retailers that are selling audiobooks all over the world. So we work with retail partners. We work with Audible, Apple, Google, Storytel, Scribd, the big partners that you know the names of. And we also work with library partners who sometimes are behind the scenes. You don't always know the names of Biblioteca and Baker Taylor. These library partners that power libraries all over the world. We have amazing penetration to the US and Italy and Australia and Canada. And so we work with all the players basically to get your audiobook everywhere. Also, if you need to produce an audiobook, if you have a finished manuscript and you want to get it recorded into a professional audiobook, we can help with that too. So we have a service that helps match you up with narrators. We have a human casting team. We take a really hands-on curated approach where we learn about your your manuscript. And our casting team is familiar with, we have about 4,000 narrators on our roster. You're not the one sorting through 4,000 narrators. We're doing that for you. And so we'll learn about your book. We'll present 5 to 10 top choices for you. And so if you've never made an audiobook before and you're intimidated by the process, we really make it easy for you to get a great quality product. And we help you out throughout the way.
So I like the tagline, D2D for audiobooks. And I think you guys should embrace that.
Yeah, it's good, right?
So what's the kind of, where do people start? Like what's the sort of basic process when people come in with this? Because I think audiobooks are a little intimidating for some folks. So how do you guys make that a little less intimidating?
Yeah, well, the easiest way to do it is to actually come through Draft to Digital. So if you already have a Draft to Digital account,
I like it.
Right? You'll notice as soon as you publish your book, or if you're looking in your dashboard, you're going to see like audio buttons all over the place, right? Like make my book into an audiobook. And we have a really nice integration between the two companies where with a single press, you'll be taken over to our website. We'll create an account for you and we'll pipe over your book's metadata. So not all the metadata fields go one-to-one. Into there, but all the ones that we can, description, title, author name, like that kind of stuff gets ported over automatically. So you're not left typing it in and duplicating it and maybe making a typo and everything. So it's a really nice, easy way to get started. And then, the first step is basically deciding, do I want help creating an audiobook or do I just already have an audiobook that I want to upload the files? If you want to upload the files, it's a really easy process. It's fill out the metadata fields, upload the artwork, choose where you want it distributed. Almost everybody chooses to distribute it everywhere. They just leave all the boxes checked. If there's some reason that you want to uncheck a box, or if you don't want it in libraries, bad idea, or something like that, you're welcome to uncheck the distributor retailer boxes. Most people leave them all. And then you just drag and drop and upload your files and go.
Yeah, I can't think of a reason why you would use you guys and not go to every. I guess I can think of 1 or 2 reasons, but none that are worthwhile. Everyone should just opt into everything you do.
I agree. And most people do.
Yeah.
So just to reiterate, because you talked about 30 codes and 100 giveaway codes. Yeah. The 100 giveaway codes is a benefit you get when you distribute, when you use Findaway for everything. What's that program called?
So that's called Voices Plus. And basically the idea was we had a lot of people who were just using us for everything. A lot of our customers keep all the boxes checked. They're not going direct with anybody else. And we wanted to just give some benefits and rewards for that. So increasing the number of giveaway codes is one. Another one is DMCA takedown requests. So because I know you're using me and no one else to distribute your audiobook, I know everywhere that it should be. And if you find it on a retailer where it shouldn't be, or YouTube is the more common example, let us take care of that for you. We'll do the DMCA takedown request. We have the documentation to say you've agreed that we're the only place to distribute it. And I know I didn't put it on YouTube, So we'll take care of that for you. And there's a couple other benefits too, but those are the main ones. Yeah.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Now, this is just sort of a follow-up because I'm the Canadian in the room, so I'm going to address this. Simon asked, do you work with Canadian public libraries? And if so, which ones?
Yeah, I believe we have some good penetration into Canada through Overdrive. And I'm not as familiar with the reach downstream from the partners, but we have 12 or 13 library partners that help get your books into libraries all over the world. I apologize, I don't have the stats top of mind for Canada in particular.
It's okay. I can let Simon know that most major libraries across Canada, Toronto Public Library, Vancouver Public Library, Hamilton, Waterloo. I'm thinking of obviously places that I've been to.
I'm just surprised to learn there are libraries in Canada.
Yeah, there are libraries. We keep them in our igloos here in Canada. But chances are, especially with Hoopla and all the different library distribution platforms you have, chances are, if they have audiobooks that are digital, they're probably getting into that Canadian library system through one of these major distributors.
So Thomas Ray is asking, he says, I'd like to get some idea of typical studio production hours for a 450 to 500 page action/epic type paperback to have a budget for the work. Well, let's stop there. So let's go with production hours. About how long would a 450 to 500 page book take for production? And then we can ask the rest of his question.
Yeah, great question. So we generally like to work in words, not pages. It just translates better into hours. So if you want to get really technical, it's 9,300 words is about one finished hour. I like to use 10,000 words as an hour just because it's really easy in my head to do the math. But you're looking at, a 60,000 word novel is going to be about 6 hours. That's the easy way to think about it. And that will vary depending on how fast the narrator's reading and how much extra material there is in it and that kind of stuff. But generally speaking, the 10,000 words per hour is a good mental milestone for that. And if you go to findawayvoices.com/pricing, you'll be able to see, we have some sliders and calculators that gives you a feeling about how the finished product cost is affected by the length of the book and the cost of the narrator. Because when you have a 10-hour book, you're multiplying that by the narrator's per finished hour rate. So with audiobooks, it's always per finished hour. It doesn't matter how long it takes the narrator to make your book, it's what the finished product's length is. So most narrators are working on a 3-to-1 or a 4-to-1 ratio, where it's going to take them 3 to 4 hours to make one finished hour of audiobook. That's, I flubbed this line, I got to stop and go back and fix it and re-record it, and then mastering time and editing time at the end usually ends up 3 to 4. I know a couple people who can do 2-to-1 instead of 3-to-1 or 4-to-1. They're very, very good. But generally speaking, it's going to take 3 to 4 hours to make one finished hour of audiobook. You're paying for the finished product, not how long it takes to make it.
All right. Excellent. We got other questions.
Keep going.
Mark, do you want to?
Yeah. So along those lines, Luke asks, do you have a royalty share option? So you were talking about just the narrators doing the per finished hour, et cetera. Is there a royalty share option?
We do. We launched a royalty share option called Voices Share back in August. So it's still pretty new, but we're really excited about it. So if you're familiar with royalty share options out there, you're probably familiar with the ACX royalty share, which is you pay nothing up front, and then you split your royalties 50-50 with the narrator. And you're locked into exclusivity for 7 years. So you're at the 40% rate there. And so you're making 20%, the narrator's making 20%. We decided to approach this a little bit differently. We call it a hybrid royalty share. So instead of no payment up front, there is some payment up front. And then you're going to split your royalties with the narrator. It's 60-20-20. Okay, so let's say you made a $10 royalty or $5 royalty is easier. Findaway Voices is going to keep $1 because our distribution fee is 20%. The narrator is going to get $1 because they get 20%, and then you're going to get $3. You keep 60% of the royalties. So that's on the distribution side. On the production side, you're going to pay half up front of whatever the rate would have been. So again, all the narrators on Findaway Voices are independent contractors, and they set their own rates, and they're per finished hour rates. So you're going to cut those rates in half up front. The reason being is we think it's fairer for everyone involved if there's some skin in the game at the beginning of the process. So you're not just throwing a book out there, no skin in the game, getting it produced for free, and assuming all of the risk goes on the narrator. The narrators, generally speaking, do not just have sweat equity in these projects. They are actually putting money on the table for mastering and editing and anything downstream of them. So this lets them pay off those downstream or subcontractors that they're using, which helps them make a really professional, high quality project. And it gives them some income right off the bat. So they're lowering their risk and reliance on those royalties as their only way to make back the investment. So just to recap there, it's 50% upfront, and then you're sharing 20% of the royalties with the narrator. And remember, you're not just on Audible at this point, you're on the wide distribution network. So you're making royalties from 40 different distribution platforms. And the narrators are excited about that too, because narrators, when they participate in the royalty share, they've never had a chance to participate in library royalties before, or Google royalties before, Scribd or subscription platform royalties. It's really exciting for them to be able to market to their fans, because narrators have fans that follow them, and not all of those fans want to buy them on Audible. So it's fun to be able to say it's on the libraries, it's on Scribd, it's on Storytel, in Scandinavia, and all the countries that we're reaching.
Yeah. So, and our authors, anyone distributing through us, they're going to be pretty familiar with some of the names you're dropping there, like like Scribd and let's see, what you said, Biblioteca earlier. So all those are part of
Hoopla,
our family,
right? Hoopla's big news for you guys.
Hoopla
I'm so excited.
Was big news. Exactly.
I'm so excited that Drafted Digital is distributing to Hoopla. Hoopla is great, and ask anybody who's on Findaway Voices. They're gonna know the name Hoopla too, because they're gonna see it on their royalty statement. They're a really nice player in the library space.
I believe, Mark, you're actually kind of cleaning up on Hoopla with libraries, right?
Yeah, I was surprised, because I've been with Findaway Voices since the very beginning, well before my days at D2D, when I saw the announcement and the great partnership. And I was surprised that I was earning royalties and income from places I had never heard. Admittedly, I'd never heard of Hoopla. I'd never heard of HiBooks. I'd never heard of so many of these platforms. And I kept getting the statements going, "Wow, I made money from a place I've never heard of. I like that. I'll take that."
Yeah. I take money from people I've never heard of all the time. I'm very
That's
good
my
with
favorite. So, oh, Mom, you bought my book. I want to go back to a question Marcy asked a while back, early on, and I didn't get a chance to ask this yet. Marcy says, I have a question about kids' picture books. Some of the platforms have the ability to add text along with the embedded text, like to make it bigger, but this is done separately from the picture, regardless if it has already been text in the image. Okay, how do you handle this? This is a tough one. I don't know if this is the forum to answer that, because this isn't talking about EPUB 3s and embedding audio into ebooks. I think it's right. Like, we're talking straight out audiobooks. I think that's probably a question we'd have to talk to you offline with, right?
Yeah, I'm not sure this is an audiobook question, actually. I think she's just asking straight
enhanced.
up about ebooks. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like an enhanced.
Well, so it's worth talking about, though, because Audible has been in the news recently for their Audible captions feature, which is a little bit reminiscent of this question. It's not exactly the same, right? But it's worth talking about that, I think. And when we distribute an audiobook, we distribute to over 40 retail platforms and library platforms right now. We don't send the text with it. In fact, if you're not producing it with us, we don't even require you to upload a manuscript. There's really no reason for us to have it. Audible is actually transcribing the audio and making it into text. So they're not pairing it. This isn't Whisper Sync for the Audible captions thing. So they're not pairing it up with the text. They're actually transcribing it. And it's been in the news lately. Not everybody's happy about it, and they've kind of backed off a little bit. But there's nothing that we do right now with audiobooks that includes the text. Is the short answer to the question.
Excellent.
Thank you.
I hope that answered your question, Marcy. If it didn't, feel free to reach out to us, and we will do better. We got a question. I really want to throw this one out there. This one's from Simon. He says, "I do voiceovers. Can I narrate my own book?" The answer, of course, is no. Right, Will?
No, you can't do that. Yes, absolutely, you can. We have a lot of authors that narrate their own books, and especially with nonfiction, if you have a speaking career or you have a podcast and you have fans that know and love your voice, absolutely encourage that. We have our audio specifications listed on our site. You can find them in our knowledge base, or when you go to the audio upload page, they're right there at the top. if you're recording yourself, just make sure that they're going to hit those specs. And if you have any questions about that, make sure you can reach out to us. You can send us a little sample if you need to, or we have some great YouTube tutorials on mastering. Our lead engineer, Wes, did a great, it's like 15, 20 minutes, really in-depth with Adobe Audition on how to do the mastering. I would just make sure that you're running through that process with a small clip before you invest the time in doing the full production. Now, if you're a professional, you're not going to have any trouble hitting these specs. If you've done some books for Audible before, you're not going to have any trouble hitting these specs. They're not like crazy, ridiculous specs.
Right.
But yeah, if you want to record your audiobook, you are more than free to do that. You get to skip our whole production flow, because our production flow is really, it's about marrying the author and the narrator together and all the back and forths to manage the production. And you don't need to do that with yourself. So you would just choose the flow like you already have a finished audiobook, and you would just upload the finished files. There's no fee for that. It's just the normal distribution fee. If you're coming through Findaway Voices and uploading a finished audiobook, we don't charge you anything. It's just the 20% of the royalties you make.
So thank you. And that actually answers Sydney's question, because Sydney had asked, can you give me guidance on where to learn the formatting steps? And we'll mention those articles. We'll probably include links to those in the comments for this broadcast.
Yeah. And subscribe to us on YouTube as well. We got more tutorials coming.
I use that all the time, by the way. I use Wesley's. He's got a YouTube video, an extended YouTube video, walks you through how to do it. And every time I master audio, I go through it again just to refresh, because I'm not an audio pro. So
it's so
it's
good.
been amazing.
He's such a good teacher. He goes through it really step by step. So I guarantee, if you're in this space, you're looking to do some mastering, you're trying to figure out the specs, this video will help you. It's fantastic.
Excellent. There's plenty more questions in the. I'm tempted to ask questions myself, but there's so many in the chat. Don asked, do you do translated book audios, English to another language? I'm guessing he's asking, do you guys translate?
We do not translate. So if you want to record an audiobook in a different language, that's totally fine. We have narrators with over 30 different accents and dialects all over the world. The chances are we have somebody in our roster who can help you out, but we don't do the translation itself. So you need to bring us the finished manuscript in whatever language you want to do. We need to pass along whatever needs to be read to the voice talent. We don't do the translation ourselves.
Excellent.
I'm going to throw in one from Kate, who asks, do you offer any advice for authors? How do you price your audiobooks? Where do you start researching that?
Yes. We do. So let me back up a little bit and tell you a little bit more about Findaway really quick, because that's going to help me answer this question. So Findaway Voices has been around for a little over 2 years now, but Findaway has been around for over 15 years, and we've been in the audiobook business the whole time. We started with little preloaded physical devices that were single audiobook players, and then we moved into a digital distribution platform that powers most of the retailers. This is the infrastructure that Findaway Voices works off of, right? So I've built all the stuff in Findaway Voices that helps collect the audiobooks from authors and helps you produce them. But once you hit publish, it goes into the rest of the infrastructure at Findaway that helps us get it out to all these retailers. This is why we're able to do so much, because we didn't just spring up overnight. We've been around for 15 years building this stuff. And through that, we have sales data from publishers and retailers all over the world. We're able to aggregate a ton of information and give you guidance on what's a good price for this length book in this genre, retail and library platforms. And so as you're going through Findaway Voices, you'll see in the pricing section where we're asking you to fill out what is your retail list price and library list price, you'll see a little button that helps you calculate it. And you pick your genre if you haven't already selected on the page, and you input the length of the audiobook, or we scrape it automatically if you've already uploaded the audio, because then we know. And we give you kind of a range on, we think this is a safe place to be, this is our ideal, and this is the minimum and the maximum. And you're free to choose any price that you want. But we wanted to give people a little bit of guidance, because coming from a world in ACX and Audible, you don't get to set your price. Every book's $15. And for Audible to make that credit look appealing to people, they need the price to be more than $15. So it looks like when you're redeeming your credit that you paid $15 for, it's a deal. And so they're really, they're pushing the prices up. But in a retail environment, when you're selling on Apple and Google and Nook Audiobooks and Kobo, you really want to price more aggressively. You want to price aggressively to that $15. and make it look like a deal so people don't use their credit on Audible. So people were asking that, when we started, people were like, I have no idea how to set my audiobook price. And so we actually did some number crunching and data analysis to really help for almost every genre, give you a range of prices. And I hope you find it helpful. It is a guide. It's not a definite, you have to be in this range, but we think you're very competitive if you are in that range.
So we have a question from Cheryl, and she's asking, if we make the audiobooks through D2D, can we put them on other platforms? And I'm guessing that's if they transfer it from D2D to you guys, do they get the full range of platforms?
Yes, absolutely. You don't lose or gain anything. If you come through draft to digital, you do gain something. You get a waiver on the casting fee if you use us. But the payout rates are exactly the same. You don't lose anything by coming through draft to digital. So if you transfer your project through draft to digital, we tag you as a referral, and then we thank draft to digital for that. But you as the author see no difference in your account as far as which retailers you can reach, what rates you're being paid, or anything. It's all exactly the same.
Very good.
Thank you. I'm going to throw out a question from Stephanie. And Stephanie says, if there's a mistake you need to fix, I imagine in your audio or in your metadata, that you want to update your book, how hard is it to change an audio file, I guess, once you've loaded something?
So there's a couple different ways we could take this question. Is like if you have produced an audiobook and then you're like, ooh, that sentence was wrong, I need to re-record it. That can be difficult. If you self-recorded it, awesome. Just get back in the booth and fix it. If you had hired a narrator and this is already past the review period, maybe a couple months went by or a year and a reader submitted it, and it's a really critical thing, and you find that narrator again, you need to engage them for another bit of work. That can take some time. It can be expensive. Most narrators have a 1 finished hour minimum, meaning they're not going to get back in that booth for less than whatever their 1 hour's worth of work is. So it could cost you a couple $100 to get that fixed. So it's really important to either get it right or convince yourself that doesn't matter to go fix. It's like that old Mitch Hedberg joke, like when he's in a hotel room and he thinks of a joke, it's his job to write it down or convince himself that what he thought of wasn't funny, which is just my favorite. But on the other side, if it's in your metadata, it's really easy to fix. You just basically go back into your Findaway Voices dashboard, you update your description or whatever it was, you hit save, and then you republish. So every time you hit save, we do not send all of the changes out to the retailers every time you hit save. You have to bundle up those changes and be intentional about, I want to take this set of metadata that's in the site now and push this back out to retailers. So as soon as you save the first change after you've published, we pop up a little green republish button in the nav. You can't miss it. It's all the way at the top and very bright and green and big. And then you go there, you review the changes, you see the before and after of everything you're changing, and then we push it out to retailers then. Now, I will say that the audiobook market is a little bit younger and slower than the ebook market. So whereas changes that you make on draft to digital might go out really fast and you see your book in stores right away, it can take 15, sometimes 30 days for a retailer to refresh their catalog. So basically, we're going to deliver those changes very quickly, but their refresh cycles on the storefronts sometimes take quite a while.
We have a question about bundling audiobooks. So that's sorry to be a fun one. It says, I'm looking to do some series and have heard that bundling a group of books together can be a draw for some readers / listeners. How would one go about doing that on Findaway? Is it possible?
It is possible, and it's a great idea. So if you have a series of books, what you're going to want to think of is the glue that you're going to need to make these into a bundle, right? Because you're going to need the narrator to probably introduce the bundle a little bit differently. They're going to need to introduce each of the books a little bit differently when you're going from one book to the other. In the middle of the audiobook purchase, they're going to want to introduce this as a new thing. You're not going to want to do the full title credits and everything like at the beginning of the book. So you got to think of the glue that you want to stick it together. And I would also encourage you at this point to think of some bonus content that you can put in the bundle to make it different and more appealing than just buying them 3 books individually. Think about one of my favorite is author's notes read by the author. So even if you're not a great narrator, even if you're not confident in your voice, you can make such an emotional connection with your listeners if you are the one reading your author's note. Now, they might not want to listen to you for an 8-hour book, but they will listen to you for a couple minutes while you talk about the book and your process and your experience with the audiobook in particular, something that they're not going to get in the ebook. So make something unique, make something a little bit special that you can bundle in that book, and then make sure you're advertising that too, like on the cover art, in the description, to let them know that they're getting something special from the bundle. We're going to see bundles do really well in the credit subscription models. So this is like Audible, right? Where they're paying $15 a month, they're getting a credit, and they're looking at where to spend that token. And when they're looking at spending their token on a 2-hour audiobook versus a 20-hour mega bundle, like the 20-hour mega bundle wins every single time. So you're going to see your bundle do really well on those kind of platforms. And it's a great idea. I would try bundling in a bunch of different ways. Books 1, 2, 3, books 2, 3, 4, books 5, 6, 7. Bundle them up in a bunch of different ways and price them accordingly. And it's as easy as just creating another project on Findaway Voices and uploading the audio as if it's a new audiobook. Just remember that you're thinking ahead while you have the narrator engaged to make the glue that you're going to need for all those pieces. So hopefully that answered it. Feel free to follow up with me if you want any more specifics.
And Will, your answer actually sort of talked about a few things, because I recently did a book where I had commissioned an editor or a narrator that I knew, and I wanted his voice, but I also wanted the notes to be for me and in my voice, because it sounded weird in his voice, which was really awesome and amazing. And so it was relatively easy to go in and either replace an existing file that the narrator had already done, or in this particular case, because it was a newer title, I love the flexibility of that. I could just have him do the stories, and then in the post, notes at the sort of the end matter, added in those notes. So I love that flexibility, which kind of addresses how easy it is relatively to update the metadata for an audiobook. I'm going to throw out the next question. Roland asks, are there different audio/narrator quality expectations for fiction versus nonfiction?
Oh, I've never had that question before. I don't think so. I think that everybody expects a professional, good sounding audiobook. I think some readers are turned off by some narrators, but I don't think that goes by genre. I think that just some voices like ruffle feathers a little bit and are a little bit more polarizing. But no, I think the expectations in the audiobook market are for a really high quality product, no matter what genre it is. I don't think you get a pass if you're a nonfiction author. I don't think you get a pass if you're a fiction author. I think everybody is paying a lot more generally for an audiobook than an ebook, and they expect the quality to be up to their standards. And we enforce this through the technical standards, right? But the performance we expect to be good too. Don't expect a bad book to sell well. Good books sell well. Bad books don't. So the quality matters no matter the genre. Good question though.
I got a question from Don asking, does your hybrid royalty share have a 7-year contract like ACX does?
No, it actually has a 10-year contract. So it's actually longer. And
it involves nails and spikes.
Yes. No, there's a good reason for this. So one, the narrator's taking a smaller share, right? They're taking 20% instead of 50%. So we want the upside to be a little bit longer for them. And two, we have a buyout option that's actually baked into the agreement. So unlike ACX, which does not have a buyout option, they do not let you out of it if you sign up for this, or at least you'll find it very difficult to get out of it. We have a mechanic built in where basically if you pay 150% of the production cost, you're out at any time. There's no minimum term for when you can exercise the buyout option. And so basically it works like this. The production was going to be $1,000, but because you went Voices share, it's 50% off and you paid $500. Now, at any point in that 10-year period, if you want to pay us $1,000, you're out of Voices share. The narrator keeps all the royalties they've shared up to this point, and then we're going to pass that payment on to the narrator. So they're going to get kind of a surprise payday as like an exit bonus. And this means that they took a chance on your book. If you want out, it's probably because your book is doing pretty well and the narrator's probably enjoying their share that they've been getting up till now. And so they've shared some royalties and they're probably pretty happy about that. And then they get a whole nother payment unexpectedly with the whole price of the audiobook as if they wouldn't have taken a chance on it. So they're getting 150% plus all the royalties made. And we think this is fair all the way around. If you want out at any time, you should be allowed out. So we wanted to really make sure that we baked in that escape hatch, that mechanism right into the contract. So that kind of counterbalances the 10-year scare, hopefully, is that you can still get out at any time.
So we have a follow-up on that question.
Yeah.
And Dorothy asks, so after the 10 years, who owns the files?
The author does.
Okay.
Yep. It's that simple.
Right. I'm going to do another question. I was actually going to ask from Dorothy, but just a follow up to that. I think there's a significant difference, at least in my mind as an author, between being locked into a single retailer and being locked into everywhere. Yeah. One of them feels a little bit more restrictive to me. 7
Absolutely.
years, 10 years, it doesn't matter. But so
I mean, look, since we've launched Voices Share a month and a half ago, I've added 5 new retailers to the distribution network. You're getting more all the time. And as we add new retailers, you're automatically opted in. We want your book for sale everywhere it can be. So I'm going to be adding even more. Hint, hint, just between you, me, and the world here, there's more retailer announcements coming.
I don't think people realize how much effort and work goes into adding those additional sales channels. So adding 5 and 6, you said 5 and 6 months?
So I think we added 4 a couple weeks ago, and I've got 5 more coming. So
you got 5,
that's where the 5 was coming from. Yeah, so we're 9 in like the span of 30 days.
30. Wow.
Yeah. I'm getting tired just imagining that.
There was footwork that went into that beforehand. Let's just let everybody know. They didn't just walk out. People were always like, how come D2D doesn't add channel X? Like we should have done it over the weekend.
Yeah, you're looking at 6 months of work in a lot of cases, but that's beside the point. I'm going to go back to another question Dorothy had asked earlier, which I thought was a really cool one because it's a good one for authors to consider because a lot of authors have done ebooks. They're looking at print. They're looking at audio. And Dorothy says, are there any ballpark figures for how successful a work should be in ebook or print before you can tell that it's worthwhile to make that investment in audiobooks?
That's a good question. I don't have a metric as far as sales or units or anything like that would be just like a blanket statement that I could throw out. What I will say is producing an audiobook is not going to make a low-performing book magically perform better. So you're going to want to start with your audiobook. It's an investment, right? You're going to be paying $1,000, $2,000 to make this audiobook. You're going to want to take your highest quality, best performing ebooks and do those first, or your best performing series. An audiobook is not a way to turn around or magically revive a series or a book that's dead. And get an estimate for the full price of the audiobook and look at your trend in royalties and see if your royalties are going to pay for the audiobook. That's an easy way to do it too. If you want to, keep investing in that asset, think of it as a business asset. And if you want to reinvest in another format where you can have 2 things for sale instead of 1, the hard work is writing the book. You want to get as much leverage out of that as you can. I would try to think about it in that framework.
Wolf O'Rourke, who has one of the coolest names I've ever had the privilege to say out loud, asks, didn't catch if this was mentioned, but do the audiobooks show up in the D2D reports? That's a question for us, Mark. So how about you answer that? Do the audiobooks show up in the D2D reports?
No, they do not show up in the D2D reports because we are basically a partner of Findaway. We do ebooks really, really awesomely, and we partner with the best in the business for audiobooks. So we partner with Findaway. Well, where do you find the sales reports for Findaway audiobooks?
We have a main tab right on the left-hand side that says sales, and you can see provisional real-time sales for several retailers there. And then historical sales are also piped into those once they're official. And then on your invoices tab in your My Account page is where you can get your official sales reports. We do those monthly. You can download those as CSV or a PDF.
Thank you.
Very good. Tanya asks, I just uploaded this is an let's help her out question. I just uploaded my latest audiobook and did not notice the price suggestion button. Once the book is approved and distributed, am I able to go back into my account and look for a price recommendation and possibly change my price?
Sorry, I'm plugging in because I'm about to die here.
Will's like, no, I'm out. I am not answering
right. I better go for this one. Yeah. Yes, you can change your price at any time.
Does she get the recommendation that she missed out on?
Yeah, you just go right back in there. So even if you published a couple years ago, I'd encourage you to go back to the site. It's changing all the time. It's really nice, and we have more guidance in each of the fields as well. But yeah, just go right down to the pricing section. It's on the metadata page with all the other metadata input. It's near the bottom. Click that button, see the recommendations, see how you're doing. You might be within the range already, and if not, you're welcome to update that at any time. Save, and then make sure you republish that change so that we can send the price out.
Very good.
And I'm going to ask a question from Lana. Lana asks, are chapters like the copyright page and the table of contents and all that front matter, are they recorded for the audiobook?
Yes. Yeah, there's pretty strict requirements. The narrators know what to read. So if you give them your manuscript and the ebook, they're probably going to pick out what they need to read. If you want to give them any special guidance, you're welcome to. But also, if you are uploading it yourself, you'll see on our audio page, we have the sections like really nicely broken out. So this is your opening credits, and here's what should go in the opening credits. Here's what you don't put in the opening credits. Some retailers have really strict requirements about what can go in each section and how it's broken out. So we try to give a bunch of guidance there so that you don't run into problems down the line. But yeah, most of that stuff is in audio.
Thanks. There was a follow-up to that she had that it's now been deleted, so I can't see it. But I remember it was related to what about URLs? Because in an ebook you can say, "Hey, go check out my other book too. Go check out whatever." How is that handled for audio usually?
Yeah, URLs are tricky, right? Because people are probably listening in the car or while they're running or doing something else where the hands aren't free. So URLs, you're going to want to make them memorable. You're going to want to make them on a domain that you own. I would not recommend using something like Bitly or something that could just go away in the future. Bitly is nice because it's a nice URL shortener. There's some really nice URL shortener services there. But if any of those services go under, you're toast. There's no way to get to it. And then you're back in the situation we talked about 15 minutes ago or whatever about having to find that narrator again, have them re-record those pieces. So point them to a URL that you own. Spell it out if you have a name that's hard to spell or if it's easily mistaken, and try to have like a little landing page to aggregate the links. So I would say you're always pointing somebody towards findawayvoices.com/pricing.
Yeah.
And that's then like your place to aggregate. Here's all the links I mentioned in chapter 1. Here's all the links I mentioned in chapter 2. Keep it consistent. And if you reinforce that this is the page where you go for all that, and you repeat it 15 times in the book, you're more likely that they'll remember it.
And of course, if your links are pointing at ebooks, then you should be using books to read to get your universal book links. Just by sheer coincidence, that exists. Joanne Smith Ainsworth's asking, I have an audiobook distributed via Findaway. It released 2017, and this is the first time I've heard about giveaway codes. Can I get some even though it is a year old? It's actually 2 years old if it's 2017. So yes.
Yes, great question. Yeah, so giveaway codes, we introduced that a little over a year ago. So you were a little early on the Findaway train, which I love. They were manually given away at first. So a bunch of people have them in their email boxes right now, which is how we were distributing them while the program was kind of in beta. Now there is a tab on your Findaway Voices project for giveaway codes. So if we had ever emailed you the codes in the past, you're going to be able to see them in the dashboard now. You don't have to ask for them again or anything. They're there. We remembered. We kept track of everything. And those codes that you have are going to show up there. And nicely, you're going to be able to see which ones were redeemed and on what date. So as you give away these codes, you're going to know whether they were used. And you're going to say, Sally, I gave you this code to do a review and you never even downloaded the book.
Ooh,
so you're able to follow up and pester people. Code shaming. But if you haven't gotten codes before, you'll see a button on there that says generate my codes, and it'll give you either 30 or 100, depending on whether you're in Voices Plus or not. And you'll be able to get them right there, and they generate right away. So yes, you'll be able to get them.
Thank you. Simon asks, I got a question. How about publishing extracts of the audiobook on my website? I'm not sure if it's, are the authors allowed to do that?
Yeah. Yes. So if you're publishing like extracts of your audiobook, you're allowed to do that if you're on Findaway Voices because we're non-exclusive, right? Like you're not locked. If you're in Audible exclusivity, I would be careful about that and check your contract. I'm not going to tell you either way, but I would say probably not, depending on the length. you can do some sampling and stuff. But if you're giving away like
Yeah.
the first chapter or something, I probably would be careful with that. If you want to sell the book on your website, you're welcome to. Go for it. Absolutely.
I love that. All right. Charles asks, do you have something like WhisperSync or plan on having this in the future?
Oh, the WhisperSync question. So
WhisperSync.
this one's, kind of near and dear to my heart because I was working on a demo for Findaway before WhisperSync was even announced, like 8 years ago, of matching up audio and ebooks. It was just a proof of concept. It never really went anywhere, but we dusted off the shelf a couple of years ago, and it's we called it Duobook. And Duobook is still in the App Store. You can see something that I was working on like 3 years ago. But in an official capacity, no. So we don't do anything with ebooks. We would recommend you look to Drafted Digital for the ebooks and us for the audiobooks, and we don't do any merging of it.
We're gonna have to figure a way to get our peanut butter with your jelly, man, and get this whole thing cooking for some WhisperSync like action. We're gonna have to figure that out.
I know. It's something we've definitely thought about and toyed around with, and we've done proof of concepts and we've tried out the technology, and we know it's something that's pretty attainable at this point. The technology keeps getting better and better. The syncing is not that hard to do anymore. So it's just a matter of we don't do anything without ebooks right now. So at this point, no, we don't do anything like that. But it could be happening in the future. Not going to promise.
Stay tuned. Who knows what could happen?
Awesome.
That is not a promise. No feature reveals going on in this program.
Nope.
Stephanie is asking, are there benefits to going direct to the audio places, I guess, instead of going through Findaway Voices? And are there any areas you can't get to without Findaway Voices, meaning there is no going direct?
Great question. I don't get this question nearly as much as I thought I would, when I started answering questions for people. Yes. So Findaway Voices has a 20% distribution fee. That's how we stay in business, right? So if you go direct to a retailer, you don't pay that 20% distribution fee. So if you wanted to go direct through ACX and not use us for Audible distribution, you'd be making more money, right? Kobo Writing Life also just launched their audio upload. You can go direct to Kobo Writing Life, and that's totally fine. If you want to do that, you go to our site and you just make sure you uncheck those retailers so we don't try to double send it to them, because that's when the problems start to happen. But there's no problem with that at all. Again, if you're doing Voices Plus and you're saying I'm just using Findaway Voices, then you don't do that. Then you use us for everything, and the 20% fee just kind of gets taken off the top of your royalty statement. You keep 80% of your royalties. You get that convenience of only having to deal with one place where your book is metadata is. When you find that typo or whatever, you're only going to one place to fix it. There's a whole bunch of benefits to going wide with us. But if you want to go direct, you're more than welcome to do that. And the only thing that I can think of that makes it better is that 20% distribution fee, avoiding that for a particular retailer.
Excellent. Roland Denzel is asking if you're going to be at 20 Books Vegas, man. I think he wants to buy you a beer.
Awesome. Yeah, I will be there. I'll be there the whole time. I'm on stage the very first day. There's like a vendor roundtable thing. And Drafted Digital is going to be up there too. I don't know if I'm going to be up there with Mark or Dan or whoever, but I'll be up there on the first day. So you'll get
I'm a whoever now? What the?
Yeah. Yeah, you didn't know, man? Come on.
I've been reduced to a whoever.
And then there's an audiobook panel on, I think it's Thursday, where we'll be up there talking about audiobooks and answering more questions. So definitely please attend that, and we'd love to see you there.
Yeah. I mean, I don't see how you could possibly have any more answers than you've provided today, man.
Well, it's going to be great. We're going to be on that panel with ACX. So it's going to be fantastic.
Oh, that's going to be, are there knives involved? Are you guys going to?
No, I think I mean, look, they're good people. I have a good relationship with them, and everything's good. It'll be a fun, great discussion, I'm sure.
Yeah. Well, I have an ACX question. Maybe get started before you get to Vegas. And Tanya Williams asks, if I decide to publish an audiobook bundle, is it considered a new book? And the reason she's asking is she'd like to publish a bundle with Findaway Voices, despite the 3 titles being sold through ACX individually. So is it kind of like Kindle Unlimited with ebooks, where you're prevented from doing that? And that wouldn't be Findaway preventing it; would probably be Amazon, right?
Yeah. So I mean, I got to tell you the disclaimer of check your contract. I'm not going to advise you there. My understanding is that if you are exclusive on any of the individual books in the bundle, you cannot make a bundle of it. So if you've gone exclusive, if you've done it with a royalty share and you're locked in the exclusivity because of that, or if you just chose that 40% royalty rate on any of the individual books, you cannot put those as part of a bundle and bring them wide or anything. So that's my understanding of it.
We should just make a blanket statement that if you have agreed to any sort of exclusivity, it means exclusivity. And that means you can't, there's no workaround to get your ebook, audiobook, or other book out there in a bundle or otherwise. So,
well, so I should say though, if your audiobook is not in the royalty share program, right? Because the royalty share program is pretty ironclad. Like, it's tough to get out of that. But if you just chose the exclusive rate and it's been more than a year, you can just email them and ask to get out of exclusivity. So it's a 7-year term, but after 1 year, you can go from exclusive to non-exclusive status. And then you can do whatever you want with it.
Excellent. So I'm going to pronounce this Margot. Margot asks, is the agreement with Findaway exclusive for audio distribution?
No, by default, it's non-exclusive. Right. We do have the Voices Plus tier of distribution, where if you want to commit to using us as your only distribution partner for audiobooks, we'll get you to every audiobook platform. And then we do ask that you don't use anyone else. You don't go direct. You don't use another aggregator. There's really no reason to. There's we hit everywhere. You're not going to get more with another party out there. So by default, non-exclusive. We do have an exclusivity option if you want to commit to using us. And that reminds me, there was a second half of a question a while ago that I didn't answer about that.
About contracts and exclusivity and or am I?
And I just had it, and then it
I blew it out of your brain.
Again. It'll come back, I'm sure. Yeah. And we're less than 10 minutes. We have about 9 minutes left. I'm gonna throw a really tough one at you from Dan.
I like it. You're doing all the work, Will. This is
great. I love this. I've been
sipping bourbon and just kind of letting you do your thing.
Dan says, and this isn't Dan from Drafted Digital, it's another Dan, says, I tried to use Findaway but found the process too long and complex. Will you simplify it to make it faster? I have many books to submit.
So I have to assume that you're talking about the production side of the business as opposed to the distribution side where you're just uploading books. I have heard this from authors before. Our process for production is very much geared towards the first-time author who finds the process intimidating. We do a lot of hand-holding. We make sure that everybody understands and double understands and triple understands deadlines and dates and prices and everything. And if you're really a pro at making audiobooks, it can feel like we're really slowing you down. So I've heard that feedback before. What I would encourage you in that situation is don't use us for production. If you're really an ace producer and you have a relationship with a narrator, there's not really a reason to use us. Go do it on your own and upload it once the finished files are there. I've got no problem with that. I would love it if you would go non-exclusive and upload the audiobook with us when it's done. But if you want to go around us and we slow you down too much, that's totally valid feedback. I don't think in the near future we will be changing that process significantly because it is so helpful for so many people. But again, it doesn't matter where you produce your audiobook. You can always distribute the finished audiobook files through us. And I've had customers upload 400 books in a weekend, like just powering through their backlist. These are like small indie publishers and stuff. So I know that you can power through our upload process really fast and easy. If you're having any problems there, please reach out to me or our support team. I'd love to help you out. But I would also encourage you to kind of go through the process one more time because we're always making the site better and there's always more guidance and more better error messages and stuff if you're hitting problems along the way. So,
okay, this could end up being the last question since we're getting on towards
going to be a good one.
Time to do some housekeeping stuff. Dana Dunbar asks, I'm going to add to this question too. What do you think about putting an excerpt on YouTube, then directing people to your website or a retailer link? Is that doable when using Findaway? And I want to add to that, do you have some tips for how people can promote their audiobooks?
Yeah, I think that can be a good strategy. If you have an audience and you can find people on YouTube and you want to give them a little teaser, and then direct them to where to buy the book, I think that's great. I think that's a fantastic idea. I would giving that first chapter of the book away for free to draw people in, I think is great. In general, all the things that you do to promote your ebooks and get people hooked on your ebooks will work in audio. There's not a whole lot that is specific to audio, is like, this is how you reach listeners. It's not like you should advertise on podcasts, because I haven't seen that really work yet. It's most of the stuff where you're getting a reader base, you're engaging them on social media, you're running, book club and chirp ads. You're doing all the things you can to find the listeners, and then you're just directing them to the audiobook links instead of the ebook links.
Excellent. Yeah. All right. Well, we're at the 5-minute mark. Mark, do you want to add anything before we dive into housekeeping stuff?
Well, yeah, I know, Kevin, you have exciting stuff to talk about. So, Will, I want to say on behalf of Kevin and myself and the rest of the Draft Digital team and all the amazing authors who attended this, thank you so much for lending your expertise and your options and the advice that you shared with us today. Thank you for having me. It's been fantastic to answer these questions. Great questions. So thank you, everybody who attended and asked great questions. And we'll have to do this again sometime.
We'll definitely do this again sometime. I think we ended up with more questions than we could ask, so we definitely need to do this again.
Yeah, I'll have to have you back.
We got some. First up, we got an announcement that actually ties in with our topic, and that is that we will soon be releasing, probably within the next 5 to 10 days. We'll say 5 days. I think it's next week. We will be releasing
business days.
Update business days. So midweek next weekish. We're going to be adding audiobooks to our universal book links. So you'll be able to. Well, man, we're stupid excited about this one, because it means that because we've gotten requests from this. I mean, Joanna Penn alone has probably requested this more than any living human. But you'll be able to use universal book links to send your potential listeners to your audiobook wherever it is sold. It's going to be a fairly manual process, not an automated scrape the way the ebooks are, but we're doing our best to make sure this is going to be a high functioning, powerful tool for you. So really looking forward to that. And as always, we are once again offering our free one-on-one author consultations to anyone who is attending this event live. You'll be able to find us, and there should be a link appearing magically in your Facebook feed right now. But if you go to bit.ly, that's bit.ly/ I know, and you just trashed bit.ly earlier, bit.ly/D2D consult. bit.ly/D2D consult. We're going to keep that open for 24 hours-ish. I usually forget and leave it open for like an extra 45 minutes or so. So you may have some wiggle room, but you can go book some time with me, Mark, or Dan Wood for a free 30-minute one-on-one consultation. We'll talk to you about anything you want, including audiobooks. If that's what's got you excited, we'll do our best. And we have really enjoyed doing those, Mark. I've had some really. We went to NINC a couple of weeks ago and discovered that even the pros, we thought we were only talking to folks. These consultations and these webinars were only benefiting the sort of incoming will-be authors, but come to find out, even the folks who've been around for a while are kind of appreciating the stuff that we're talking about in these things.
Yeah, that kind of surprised me, because I thought it might be a person who's just getting started. They're just learning things. But again, the folks who were showing up at NINC as well, who've been in the industry for a little while. I love the fact that we can help authors no matter where they are on their author journey. And that's what these one-on-ones are all about. That's what this webinar series is all about. Just trying to put extra information out there for you to help you on that journey.
And on that same note, audiobooks are a big deal, Will. We audiobooks and libraries. That's our two. We think those are the way of the future. So we're combining those kids as much as possible. So we greatly appreciate you sharing your audiobook wisdom, even though you were muted at the beginning of the call. We're glad
that was so embarrassing.
Figured it out. We've got it on video now, so
yeah, that's great. That's great.
We'll remind you of it from time to time whenever things are getting too awesome. We'll just remember that time.
We didn't ask you this. Maybe we've covered it, but tell everybody the best way to get to you. What's a URL people can fall back on? I know they can get to you through D2D, but
yes.
How do they find more?
If you have a Drafted Digital account, you should absolutely do that, because it's so easy and simple. But if you were looking to just learn more about us, findawayvoices.com.
Excellent.
Thanks, Will, so much. Thank you, Kevin, for reminding me who I am. And thank you, our faithful, wonderful author community, for being there and asking some amazing questions.
Don't forget Alyssa. We got to thank Alyssa.
Oh my God, Alyssa, our producer, our executive producer.
And Dan Wood.
Yeah, that's right.
Hanging out in the background, helping us make this happen. So
that is right. And we can't have Alyssa walk into the room because she's hiding in the back, producing this show in an amazing way with some.
She's got a mic. She could pop in.
She could pop in if she wanted to just say hey, but she's saying no way. But Alyssa, thank you so much. This worked out quite brilliantly. And thanks to all the amazing support that we get from our colleagues at Draft to Digital, because we actually get to take all the credit for all the cool stuff that you guys are doing. So we will be doing another one of these next month. So keep an eye on the Draft to Digital blog or checking out the emails that we're sending you, and we'll let you know when the next one for October is. November. It's October now, right? I don't know what month it is. I don't know my name.
Don't make me do another one in October, man. No. I have like 3 more webinars.
And it starts now.
Tune in 5 minutes from now and we do another hour-long webinar.
Thanks, guys. Take care.